All right, strategy aligned professionals. We are on day one of our 5 days of implementation around creating your very first web app. Now, as I mentioned in the live call, which happened last week, which is on demand. If you have not watched it, you can go back and watch it where we kind of laid out the entire week. This week did start for all those that are actually tuning in live. This week did start halfway through the week because of my schedule. So it will actually be today through Sunday if you can make it. If not, you'll watch the replays. This month, I really want everyone that goes through this much training, this framework, to walk away with something extremely tangible. And that is going to be your interactive web app. And this was born because of our six-part series that I did last month for SEMrush, and we ended up accidentally creating a very simple app for Laura in about a minute. So, and of course, it was created in a minute, but of course, there's going to be a lot more steps, a lot more that has to happen. But that just shows you how incredible AI can be, especially when you have a focus and you have a point. So today's focus is ideation and core concept for your interactive web app. So the only focus today is just to come up with the concept. So I'm going to walk you through a very, very basic structure that you're going to use. And of course, I've also created a template that you can literally just follow through on. I made a couple more adjustments just before this call to make it even easier. So we can create something that can now become an opportunity to lead gen, to differentiate yourself from your competitors, to create an interactive experience with not only your clients, but your potential clients, anyone visiting your website. And it also lends back to the whole AI search revolution, the thing that's going on now in regards to how brands are being discovered in AI search. This is just another piece of the puzzle that you're going to want to have to continue to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Okay, so I'm excited about this. And again, I'm going to use myself today as the guinea pig for the entire 5 days. So if I can do it, you can do it. So if you have the capabilities, and I know this might be a bit of a challenge for those that are watching live, to actually do some of this. How many of you guys are using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini? Everyone here is using some form. Good. So like I said in the message I sent out earlier, if you have at least one of these three, you have everything you need other than your brain to get to create this AI app. Okay. So what's the objective of today? The objective is to confidently use AI tools to generate compelling app ideas. This is the focus of today. Base your app idea on your business's existing products or services. Learn to think beyond traditional service delivery. Envision digital solutions that enhance customer experience. Ensure app ideas are grounded in real business value. And translate existing strengths into interactive digital experiences that solve genuine customer problems. So I'm actually taking 3 different approaches here so I make sure that everybody's covered. So actually, I'm jumping the gun. So I'm going to go with concept number 1. Concept number 1 is a need-based ideation. That means, what does the customer need? What are they searching for? What are their needs? And how can you meet them there? So understanding the customer pain points. Start with real problems your customers face daily. These frustrations are gold mines for app ideas that provide genuine value and drive engagement. Look at common questions. Listen for the questions customers repeatedly ask. I always say, if you want to understand where your customers might be struggling, if you have customers, go and look at the last 6 months of conversations you may have had with certain people that are paying you, because they're going to be gold mines there. And you can, I have Google, I have the G Suite. So now my AI is integrated into that, and so allows me, it summarizes all of my emails, especially those email threads. So there's AI there that can help you get some ideas of what people are talking about, what they may be struggling with. Service gaps. Identify moments where customers need help uh, but you're not available. Apps can bridge these gaps with 24/7 automated assistance and guidance. So the key here, so the first concept, and it's three of them I'm going to give you. The first one is a need-based approach to creating your app. If you don't want to go with needs-based, meaning what does the customer need and how does your services help them, then you go with a service to app transformation. Okay, so you can look at now your existing services. Like right now, I'm on this whole AI search kick. So I definitely want to create an app that can support me bringing new business in for my AI app services. So now I'm going after a specific service, and I want to build an app that will help me convert people better because of that. So that's your second option. So an existing service, you've proven business offer, you're proven business offering that customers already value and pay for. Digital translation, interactive tools that replicate or enhance your service experience online. And three, a scalable solution, apps that serve unlimited customers without proportional increase in effort. So this could be, so one thing I'm trying to look at, and I'll use the AI search thing, is I want to create an AI search service that doesn't require me to have to hire 20 people to deliver that service, but it still has to be a very valuable service. How can I use AI and technology to provide enough value at a really great price for my potential customer, but at the same time, it doesn't stress out my team and, of course, myself? So that's concept number two, service to app transformation. Now, the third, of course, is, where are you? Am I missing it? I'm missing the third one. The third one should have been a product to app. Okay, so now you may not have a service, maybe you have a product. And again, if you look at the live call we did on the live training session, I actually did a jewelry company because I know we have a number of product-based businesses in our community. So you as well can have an app. So it's not just for service-based businesses, it's also for product-based businesses as well. So if you are a product-based business, I'm going to give you a prompt that you're going to use to start the entire process. I'm going to give each one of these steps a prompt. Okay, so let's talk about the art of the prompt. Look at it as an expert and go, as an expert, I would like you to help me map out what this app can be. Okay, so you're going to be specific about your business, include your industry, your target customers, and your unique value proposition, if you have it, which I hope you do, in every prompt. You're going to define success metrics. What does success look like if they use your app? Okay, tell the AI what outcomes you want: lead generation, customer retention, operational efficiency. Okay, and then you're going to set clear restraints. You know, are you going to invest money in it? And at this stage, you should not. There should be, the only expense is your time at this point, but you may want to evolve this tool over time. What is the expectation of making sure that it's completed in a certain period of time? We want to create a very, very simple app that should be able to be created in the time frame of this actual training. So if it's too complex, we shelve it. We want something really, really simple. Okay. So here's our step-by-step activity for each step. So first thing you want to do is, if you have a group of people that you're working with, if you happen to have employees, I know some of you do, or if you happen to be a part of a peer group or whatnot, you can maybe get them involved in this process and you all do this together. But you want to map out what it is that you want to do. So you want to have a discussion. Discussion points can be: list your top 5 services or products that customers value the most. So that's one starting point. You can identify 3 to 5 recurring challenges that customers bring to you. Next one, note questions customers ask repeatedly during consultation. And then discuss peak times when demand exceeds your availability. So these are 4 different options we're going to look for here. And this will help us to decide to determine which way should we go. So if we decide to go with the need-based structure, we're going to pick our tool. And then we're going to ask this very specific prompt. Act as an expert in your industry. Now, what I did, I didn't even list my industry. I just put my website URL in there. And that's the beautiful thing about that, because I can list off the industry, but you know what? I put a lot of time and energy in my website. So I'm going to let it use that and continue to build more on its knowledge than mine's. List 5 common questions or pain points my customers have about my industry, and suggest an interactive app that could solve each problem. And then you're going to analyze the results and determine which one, so this is for need-based ideation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. This is our website, as you may know. I'm going to go straight to Gemini. And what I did was I actually modified that a little bit. So here's what I wrote. I wrote a paragraph before I dropped in that prompt I just read to you. And I said, I want to create a web app for my business to support my potential clients and members. I call them members because I'm talking about community members like you. Okay. My website is, and I dropped in the website URL. And I said, here is my initial instructions to ideate what my app should be. Then I dropped in that prompt that I just read to you. And so I didn't even have to add anything. I just said, act as an expert in my field. So I didn't even have to put in the field because I dropped my website in there for it to figure it out. List 5 common questions or pain points my customers have about my business and suggest an interactive app that can solve each problem. And I'm going to get 5 different options for apps based on their need. And their need is has to align with what I would, how I would provide services to them. So it gave me number 1. Pain point. It said lack of time and feeling overwhelmed. How many of you guys feel like that? Okay. So it said app suggestion, the productivity and prioritization planner. This interactive app would guide users through a system to categorize their to-do list using a framework similar to the Eisenhower matrix or the must, might, maybe rule. It could help them time block their calendars, set daily growth-focused goals, and provide push notifications to remind them to work on strategic tasks rather than just reacting to urgent issues. So that's app 1 idea. App 2, pain point, difficulty creating a clear, actionable growth strategy. Many entrepreneurs are skilled at their trade, but lack the concrete plan to scale their business beyond a day-to-day operation. So this one says, build a growth strategy builder. This app will provide a step-by-step interactive guide to create a personalized 90-day action plan. It would include templates, prompts for market analysis, goal setting, and milestones. Number 3, feeling isolated and lacking a supportive community. App suggestion, a community and membership hub. Now, this one would definitely be a lot harder to create, so I would obviously bypass this one. But you get the idea. It created some pretty cool stuff that I could use. So if I wanted to, I could start here and then drop that into ChatGPT and begin building my app, which I'm not going to do yet because I just want to give you an idea. So now let's go back in here and let's look at number 2, a service to app idea. Transform your services. Now shift focuses from customer problems to your existing solutions. This approach often generates the most viable app concept because you're digitizing a proven value proposition, which is your product or services. And here's the prompt. Based on my services, and so list your top 3 to 5 services. Here's where I didn't list my top 3 services. I actually linked to my service page. So I cheated, which of course that's still fine because it's still my stuff. So I linked to my service page so I didn't have to, so it could take more into consideration. And I said, generate 3 to 5 ideas for interactive apps that could digitally deliver, enhance, or scale each service. Focus on tools that provide immediate value to the customer. So here's what I did. So I went back in here and I said, these are great. Now here's a new prompt that will focus more on my services versus the target audience's needs. Based on my services at, and then I just dropped the URL instead of just listing out my services, generate 3 to 5 ideas for an interactive app that could solve a common problem. And so these are my 4 top services: AI automation strategy, strategic growth and go-to-market strategy, website performance optimization, and target marketing. So it went ahead and pulled those 4 services. It gave me the problem to solve. So let's look at AI and automation strategy. Problem to solve. Small businesses often struggle to identify which tasks can be automated with AI and how to improve these solutions. So here's my app idea. A diagnostic tool that asks users about their daily business operations. Do you spend a lot of time responding to customer inquiries? Do you manually schedule social media posts? Based on their answers, the app will generate a personalized automation roadmap with specific low-cost AI tools to try a step-by-step guide for implementation. Now, let me explain to you what this just did. Like, this is no longer cookie cutter for every single person that fills that app out. This is going to be because remember, it's going to be tied back. You can integrate it back into a tool like Gemini or a tool like Claude or whatever you have. They have APIs which allow you to pull data to use their tools to help keep this thing really, really fresh. So that's a really great tool that can be created. Now you can feed it data, or you can figure out a way for it to pull from an a generative AI tool and never have to feed it data. You're just using it as a shell to be able to help them get from point A to point B. Okay, here's the second one. Strategic growth and go-to-market. Problems to solve. Entrepreneurs often have a great idea but don't know how to translate them into concrete go-to-market plans. Here's the app idea. A guided strategic planning tool. It will walk users through a series of questions to help them define their target audience, competitive advantage, and marketing channels. The app could then generate a simple, exportable one-page strategic plan and provide links to your blog posts or courses that delve deeper into this section. And so what's going to happen here, there's multiple steps. You're going to start simple, and you're going to continue to modify. So just to jump ahead a little bit, I'm going to take this here. Just to, again, show you how crazy this is going to be. I'm going to copy that. And this will be day 2. But I'm just going to jump ahead just a second just to show you the power, because I know we have people here who haven't seen some of what we're about to do. I'm going to go to Coding Partner. There we go. Now I'm going to drop that in there. So they have these things called gems when you're using Gemini. All right, and I'm going to go to Canvas. I'm going to say using Canvas There we go. So now it went into Canvas mode. So now it's coding this app. This is version 1 of this app. And now it's previewing it. So there we go. So that's the app. It's real simple. Who's your ideal customer? I'm just going to fill it out. Who's my ideal customer? I'm going to say small business owners. And they struggle with time management. What's your unique competitive advantage? What makes your product stand out? I got to think about what I just did. We have helped many businesses owners buy back 10 hours a week of time for strategic growth. Which market channel? So as you see, so it's making it very interactive. Now I can take this code, copy it, go to my website, create a new page. Default editor. And I'm going to add it as HTML code. HTML. Save draft. Preview. And now it's on our website. So now you have an interactive app. Now you'll want to do stuff around it, build things around it. And again, that was very, very basic, but that's just how fast you can go. It's just about what am I trying to create? So I can come back in here and go change the color to red and add a paragraph to above the app about the benefits of using this app. So now it's going to update the code. So you never ever have to code. Wait for it to finish. Preview. And now there's your app. And then you just continue to build on that app. So you have a version 1, you have a version 2, and then you might add some other steps. You might daisy chain this with another app. And now you have something extremely interactive that people can, when they land on your site, they can start to interact with it, and it becomes more about them and less about you. So I'm going to show you the next way, and then I'm going to pause for questions. Okay, so let's go back over here. We looked at the service-based. Now, if you happen to be a product-based business, you can still take advantage of this opportunity. So a product to app ideation. Whether you sell physical goods or digital assets, an interactive app can add significant value. Apps can improve customer experience and drive sales. Customers can visualize, customize, or interact with your offerings in new ways. So this person happens to make jewelry. Okay. So what I did here was, this is building on the jewelry concept we talked about in the live call. Here's the prompt. As a jewelry company selling jewelry, help me generate ideas for an interactive app that could achieve a specific goal for my customers. So here's the actual prompt. I sell custom jewelry. Help me generate an idea for an interactive app that helps customers visualize a new product or personalize existing designs before purchasing. So, and this here, as I mentioned in the live call, this is something that you can charge a really great premium for, because they're now customizing it. Think about how Nike did that. I believe it was Nike with shoes, how people were able to start to, create their own variations of Jordans. Of course, they're going to pay a lot more for that pair of shoes, but they don't care, because that shoe is now uniquely them, and it could potentially be a one-of-a-kind pair of shoes. So this is incredible what we can do, and depending on what you want to do with this app will determine how complex it can possibly be. So what I would suggest you do, if you go with either a needs-based ideation approach, a service-to-app approach, or a product-to-app approach, leveraging either one of these prompts, pick the easiest one. Just get something that is very simple, but something you can post on social media. Hey, I'd love to get your feedback on this new app that we're using to help a problem. So it's not about you're not going to say to help sell my stuff. You're going to say it's to help me with a problem. help someone with a problem, and let me know your thoughts. So you're kind of testing it at the same time, getting some great user feedback. So I'm going to pause for a second. Does anybody have an idea of which one of the 3 apps they would like to create, and why? Who wants to go first? Okay, go ahead, Andrea.
Hi. So I'm thinking that it makes most sense for me to stay with the needs-based concept one, to focus on like the pain points. Um, Hold on a second. I'm just looking back at my notes.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
moments that they need support and I'm not there. So I'm thinking of some sort of interactive. And I dropped in the chat. I'm not sure if you saw. I was curious if this could serve as somewhat of a lead magnet, like a
It is
tool
exactly
that.
a lead magnet. That's exactly what
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Because
And
I could see
go
the
ahead.
value here. I could see the value here in being creative in terms of what type of interactive experience you could give to people that lives on the site that draws them in, and then you could promote regularly, to have folks go try it out or use it or whatever. But I was curious about the second prompt, the refined prompt that you said,
Hmm.
um, where you talked about, I started to write it, but then I don't know where it went. More or
I
less
have it
like,
here. So on your checklist, I actually added both prompts, my 4 prompts.
oh, awesome. Okay, because I was going to see what it says. I did plug in the first prompt that you gave, and basically it was sharing that I just chose like generic, like said for the purpose of like life coaching per se. And what questions do people usually ask? And now they're giving suggestions, and they're even talking about like a journaling app, or something like that taps into accountability or identifying where they're struggling most. So I could see the value, and then I'm curious to plug in the second prompt that you have to see how to
Absolutely.
refine it.
And that's why you'll want to test both variations, because you might it might come up with something that you'll be like, wow, that's mind blowing. And so for me,
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing both, because I'll do a needs base for the overall organization, but I'm going to be pushing heavily my AI search services. So now I'm going to create something specific to that actual service that would make sense, that doesn't seem like a sales pitch. But at the end, of course, the call to action is, hey, this is a lot of work. If you would like someone that knows what they're doing to do this for you, please book a call with me.
Mm, yeah.
So, and that's the beauty of this just like lead magnets, because for all of you, I'm pretty sure everybody on here is familiar with lead magnets. This is so simple that you will actually have more than one, and that's the beauty of that. So I didn't mean to cut you off. Andrea, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, no, this is great. Thank you. I'm interested to stay with it and sort of play with it to see where I actually land, like what feels right. Because I up until now, it's been this piece, the lead magnet piece, has felt stale and flat for me. So my list hasn't been growing, and I guess it's because I'm not so excited about like sharing out the things that I've had. So I feel like this could be a nice, really like modern, fresh, exciting way to share it out based on what I'm seeing so far. So, yeah, thank you. I'm excited for this.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, who's next? Who's up?
Yeah, Jimmy. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the service to app ideation thing, because basically I'm thinking about some of the common or generic questions that come up in the business of consulting, and try to cater some of those questions to be automatically answered, and like you said, a lead magnet for a one-on-one personalized service, but to give the value of what's commonly asked for, and just try to put a lot of that information in one place. So hopefully the app can help me with that.
Well, and here's the cool thing about this whole process. Let's stay on the lead magnet topic here. Um, Even if you did, you create something, because I know you're in the consulting world for small businesses. You know, you can the best converting lead magnets or checklists, resource guides, anything that could be consumed in 5 minutes or less. Those convert the best out of all. Not a 160 to 100 page ebook. You have to want to read it. There has to be a heavy need for you to do that. So if you can have your app spit out more of a checklist a resource guide, then, and they know they're going to get that at the end, that could be a key component to them going, all right, I get this. So this is something we used to do. We would take an ebook and we would break it into top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. And the middle of the funnel was a 60-page ebook. Top of the funnel was just a checklist about the ebook. And but that's what people wanted more than anything. But the problem is when you get a checklist, you still got to figure out how to implement the checklist. So you're either going to read the ebook, get the ebook and read it, or you're going to go, these are a lot of steps I prefer to get someone to help me with. And that's where you have a really strong call to action. So you can literally push them from top of the funnel straight to the bottom, because of course you've built that relationship with them, or you've helped them see clearer, and you're the one getting the credit for it. So there's a lot of opportunities here, and this is where you'll test it. And so if I come back over here, and again, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, we're going to go deeper into this tomorrow, but let's just say they finish this up. You can add in here, and this is how you're going to continue to modify this. You're going to go at the end of the, what am I calling this? At the end of the session, I just call it session, that they go through. So please collect their first name and email before showing them their results. Now you could do that, and that could be one way you can turn it into a lead magnet. You might think of other creative ways that they make, so they don't get upset that they got to enter the email. So you might have to come up with something else, or more of a value add. Now, if you do it that way, and the reason why I said before showing them, because if I said before emailing it to them, then I got to set up a system within the app itself to be able to trigger an email to go out to them. So I want them to enter their email, and I'm going to say, please send their contact info to info@jimmynewson.com. So I can do that. Now, if I add that, that's going to continue to update this app. So this could be a freestanding app that's 100% contained without having to add any other thing. And it's talking to you, it's giving you all, and it'll tell you if it's missing something that you need to go and figure out. It might tell you that you need to set up something with this and give you an idea of how it's done, and then do that. So let me try to fill this out. Who is your ideal customer? Small business owners. Advantages. What's your unique competitive advantage? Helped thousands of businesses with the same issue. And of course, I'm not doing this justice at all. I just want to get through it. Which marketing challenge is the most effective? Reaching your audience. I'm going to say public speaking. And I'm going to say, what are the key metrics you would use to measure the success of your go-to-market strategy? New signups. Now, you see it? So now it did that. Set that up. So I'm going to put my name in here. I say Jimmy, and I'm going to go Jimmy at Moving Forward Small Business.com. Get my plan. And so it did all that. And so I could print it. I could start over. And again, so you might look at this and go, it's missing a lot of stuff. So you might come back in here and go, here are the things that you must consider when they fill this out. Here are the additional questions that I need to for them to answer. So you'll continue to modify it. So you're testing it and going back and testing it again. And so this is where it could be a little time consuming, but you're walking through the process. Now, I'm going to show you something else you're going to want to do, so you're not just kind of flying blind, because we're kind of flying blind here. When we look at what the tool gave us, what AI gave us, Gemini, there's not a lot to go on when we start. It's just giving us this block of text. We're going to want to flush that out a little bit before we actually go and start to create the app, so I'm going to finish talking, but I just want to give you an idea of how fast this could possibly move when you do know everything that you want to ask, or at least enough to create something that is a great starting point. Now, before I go back in, does anybody else want to share what they're thinking as far as a really cool app for their business? If not, I'm going to jump back in. Go ahead, Erica.
I'm wondering, it gave you a tool or it recommended a tool for you to use, but I was wondering, could you say, hook this up to my API? I have a CRM over here, and you could give it that API or something like that.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm building one right now for a client right now, and it's very complex. We're literally pulling data from government. They want a tool that their members can easily go in and email their local representatives. And so I'm using 3 different APIs, and I'm building the whole thing in Gemini. So yes, okay. But nice. that becomes more complex. And that's why I said, for now, try to focus on something around your tool that would be relevant just to solve their problem. So I'd even lean more with Andrea and just go, what is a problem they're trying to solve? And you can just do it in this freestanding app just to get something live. Because if not, when you start getting into APIs and all that, now you're 30 days in, and I just want you to finish something. Okay? So just figure out a simple problem to solve. Those are sometimes the best conversion tools. Okay? We want leads. We want people that might buy our stuff. Make it easy for them to raise their hand. And of those that raise their hands, the ones that can afford your services are like, hey, let me just hire you to do this. I get it. Does anybody else want to jump in? Do you have any other questions, Erica?
No, I was trying to see how I can make it easier for myself. I know I'm not going to go to my emails every day and copy paste. So yes, I want it to be hooked up to my CRM, but I'm glad to know that it can do that. That made me happy.
Exactly. But solve that problem after. If you're using, a CRM, you're adding them to the CRM to do a follow-up. Like, I would prefer you to add them to a MailChimp or an email service provider that it would automatically trigger the email. Because if it goes to your CRM, it's not going to automatically trigger an email unless your CRM has marketing capabilities to it. So I make sure I said that, because that would definitely change the game. Anybody else want to add in, or I'm going to jump back in? Okay. So you got your initial ideas, whether they're product-based, service-based, or needs-based. You want to then start to flush it out. So you're going to take that prompt, or that you're going to take that idea. You're going to go, I like this idea the most. And now you're going to flush it out a little bit. So you're going to get a clear value proposition. What is, elaborate on the value proposition of this tool if I was to move forward with it. That could be the actual prompt. Okay. And that's what I love about these new AI tools. I mean, I love Gemini in this because I don't even have to keep telling it what I'm referring to, because it already knows. I can just go in here, like right now, check this out. So I can come in here, I can look at what we talked about earlier. I must have created a new one, but let me see if it created a new one. Is it here? Yeah, so it created a new one. If this was on the same thread, I could go back to number 2 under needs and start fresh with that prompt. Or I can just come back over here and grab 2 and go, let me test this one out and see what that app looks like. Because I also want something cool. So let's do one more thing. Let's come back over here. and go, I like the app, but I want it to be more flashy. I have no clue what that even means, but I'm just going to ask it to do it and see what it comes up with. And let's see what it determines. You might have an idea of what flashy is, and you're gonna say it. You're gonna describe what flashy is, so it creates something more flashy based on what you're looking at. And again, this is why it is really about no code. So that's not what I would call flashier, but you get the idea. You can do some really great stuff with this thing here. So let's come back over here. So clear value proposition. Does the app solve a specific urgent customer problem? Technical feasibility. Can you realistically build this with the available resources? And the key here, we want to keep it as simple as possible. Number 3, reasonable timeline. Now, this is saying 2 to 4 weeks. It most likely would take you that much time because the initial build will be really fast. Then everything else is going to take some time to continue to refine it and before you want to present it to someone. And then business impact. Will this app drive revenue, reduce costs, or improve customer satisfaction? So you're going to either do it internally or you're going to do it as an external thing. I would say definitely treat it as an external thing and try to get leads with it, But if you have a huge base, it could help to relieve a problem that you might have been struggling with. Let me create this app, and this app can sit between a new customer being onboarded and them actually getting into a routine with my company. Because sometimes a lot of people drop the ball after someone pays them to actually initially start services. So if that's an issue that you might have, could be a great segue. One thing I would like to do is create an app that helps people better migrate from signing up for membership to getting fully integrated into the system because we have so many resources. So I already have multiple ideas of different apps I need to create, both internal and external. Okay. So then you're going to start, once you've done that, now it's time to start to prompt refinement. And this is where you're now starting to ask it to do additional things. You're starting to clean the app up a bit. So you're starting to focus on features, ask AI to detail the top 5 features your app needs, tone and style, define your app's personality. Is it professional? Is it friendly? Is it technical? Is it conversational? And then how are you going to collect the data? Because now you're going to start collecting data. So you're going to be asking, you might ask for specific data. For me, I asked for initially an email and the first name. So now we're officially data collecting here. So what I would suggest you do is after you determine what your actual app is that you want to run with, do what we call the Moscow method. And most of you that have walked through, I believe it was the May 2024 framework is all about the Moscow method. If you want a deeper dive, and I'll link to it on the replay. But the Moscow method is about the must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves. This is how you will initially move on to day 2 because you've decided what it is I want to create. And now you're going to ask it to give you a Moscow method. So here's the prompt. Using the app idea, your app idea concept, with its detailed features, apply the Moscow prioritization method, categorize each identified feature into must-haves, should-haves, could-haves, and won't-haves for your first MVP, minimal viable product. And that is what you're going to then feed into AI to actually start to create that first app. So let me show you what that looks like. So let's just come back over here. Now, if I was doing this properly, I would have came back up here and I would take this here. This is the app that I chose. And I'm going to say, based on the info below for my web app, and I'm just making this up right now, please do a Moscow framework. You can say framework, method. And so I'm just going to paste it. And again, a Moscow framework lets you know what must it have to be valuable. What should it have to be valuable? What could it have to be valuable? And what won't it have right now because that's just too much? And you want to include the most important things you want to create are the first two sections, the must-haves and the should-haves. If you can integrate those two alone, you should have an app that's valuable to someone. And then you can integrate in the could-haves. And then when you finally exhausted all of those, then you can add the won't-haves because now you're probably a few months in, you've gotten feedback. So I'm going to hit the enter. And let's see what the Moscow method would tell me is. So then I'm going to redesign this all together. So applying the Moscow method is an excellent way to prioritize features. So now it's saying here's the must-haves. It must have a guided question flow, the sequence display of questions, target audience, competitive advantage, market channels, etc. User input fields, data capture, plan generation, display. So it actually has that. So it created that. Now it's saying it should have an export and print function, which it did. A contact form, external links, and flashy visuals. So I might now integrate photos. Now I can upload photos into Gemini and have it integrate those photos into my app. Okay. Then it could have social sharing, expanded questions, a start over button. So it included quite a bit of that. But I can have more control over what it creates and what it adds first. And then won't haves, user accounts, automated plan analysis, complex customization, direct email sending. So remember I said the direct email? So that I already knew that that's going to make my product a lot more complicated and it's going to delay my launch of my app. And I don't want to delay my app. So that's why it's good to do a Moscow. And you'll go, oh, yeah, I was thinking about this. I can see that this is more of a complex thing. And I know for a fact that if I just gave this here, this is good enough for someone to use it for free. So as long as I have these few things in place, everything else is golden. And eventually you might even turn this into something that is paid. Once you really evolved it and made true value from it, people have been using it, and then you can show use cases and success stories from using your web app. So this is ground level to get into a really great space and start to separate yourself. So you brand it with your company name, with your name. And this is where, again, if it's associated back to you, people are using it. And you might even do a press release. And we're going to talk about this on day 5. Well, how do I get people to see this app? How do I get people to use this app? Well, that's going to be your marketing promotional strategy around this app. And if you did your work, you already have 90% of the answers. You know who the audience is. You know where the value is for the app. You know what the value proposition is for the app. You just now have to start to market and promote it, whether it's on social media, through press releases, through paid ad campaigns, whatever you determine, through strategic partnerships. And this could be a great one. The more you make this app less about you, the more other organizations wouldn't mind sharing it. You could do partnerships with them. You can rebrand it. I've done this with organizations. I've taken ebooks and rebranded it in their colors, and we both share the leads. But the difference is they're promoting it to their list, and so they get a great piece of content, and I get an opportunity to get more leads. So imagine doing that here, where I can go, I want you to integrate my logo and this client's logo, and I'm going to give them the code, and they're going to add this to their site, so they get the benefit of a tool that they can only assume you paid thousands of dollars for, but you created it. So there's so many opportunities for you here. And this is a great opportunity to start to really think outside the box. I'm going to pause. I said a lot. I saw some heads shaking. What are we thinking? Nope. Okay. So we kind of went through day 1. And like I said, you have this ideation and core concept checklist. So this checklist here goes through everything that I talked about today. So you've got the step 1 group discussion. If that group is you, well, there you go. Then you only have to talk to yourself. Okay. Brainstorm a list of ideas, and then you can either try the need-based approach, the service-based approach, the product-based approach, and then you start to review all the app ideas generated by AI. And if you are passionate by people, get some feedback on what they think they like the most, and then start to refine it, figure out, get your app idea, and then start to feed it back into your tool and ask it more questions about it. How can I like it to be I don't want it to be as short as it is. Like I think that app was way too short. So what I would probably do is go, I need more questions in my app to dive deeper and give a more what am I trying to say? Detailed report. Can you? And I'm going to say now. Here's what I do sometime before you make the changes. Let me see the questions. So now it's going to give me the questions and not change this, but it looks like it's changing it anyway. Okay, so it looks like it says that's a great idea. Adding more questions will make the strategic plan more comprehensive based on your file provided. Here are the 4 questions currently. What kind of new questions would you like to add to the list? For example, we can include questions about pricing strategy, key partnerships, or budget allocation, which I think are great. So I would go, now you might have a doc. So a lot of us already have documents. So you might feed your doc. So I can upload my doc and go, here are all my questions I would like you to integrate into this app, and then just upload your file. So if you already have forms that you use for whatever reason, that's great. But I'm going to act like I don't, and I'm going to go, I don't know. Can you give me a list of 10 additional questions that would be relevant? Also, add a blue progress bar as they answer each question. And you just keep modifying it and working on it. Next thing you know, you got this freaking dynamic piece of tool that is fire. They incorporated these new questions into the app. I've also added a progress bar to a blue color as you requested. All right, so here we go. It's blue. So that's it. So I'm going to come back over here. So we just finished day 1. And then tomorrow, I'm going to choose my app tonight. So tomorrow, we're going to continue and actually start to fine tune and pop it in. And if anybody else wants to do the same thing, have yours ready and you can share your screen and show us what you're working on. All right. So if you're feeling comfortable enough to do that, then we'll do this together. And again, if not, then try to do it at night. Carve out a half an hour and play around with this, and let's see what we come up with by the end of the day, or at least by the end of the week, or by the end of this framework. Okay. So as always, stay active, stay focused, stay strong. That is the moving forward small business way. I'm going to stay on for a few minutes for anybody that has any final questions they might want to ask. I'm going to pull this down. And for everyone else, I really appreciate you being here and sticking around for the hour. Thanks, Andrea. I'll see you later. Okay. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts before I let you all go?
I just want to thank you for the checklist, and I'm going to utilize that to help out tonight and do a quick one and see what I can come up with.
Great. I'd love to hear it. whoever shows up tomorrow, I'd love to hear anybody your ideas of what you're going to go with. I'm excited to hear it.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
All right, then I'll let you all go, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right, Jimmy. See you tomorrow.